If you are watching this in the glow of your phone, with a calendar full of things you have to do, I want you to picture a different kind of wealth. Not the number in your account, not the square footage, not the badge on your LinkedIn page. I mean the kind of wealth that lets you decide what your next hour belongs to. Because here is the trap. Quiet, respectable, and praised at dinner parties. We trade our youth for money under the assumption that time is an endless resource, and we only learn time's price when we can't buy it back. I am Henry. I spent my life designing buildings people would point at from the highway. Glass towers, stone facades, lobbies that smell like fresh money and polished marble. I did well. I did very well. And I live in a large old brick house outside Boston that stays too quiet for its own good. Expensive furniture, empty rooms, rain that visits like an old friend who doesn't talk much. The clock in my hallway still works. It never forgets to do its job. Some days I look at that clock and I think, I was so disciplined about deadlines and so careless with days. When you are young, time feels like an open interstate, straight road, full tank, plenty of exits later. So you do what you are told. You prove yourself. You hustle. You stack credentials like bricks. You build a reputation. You build a mortgage. You build a life that looks impressive from the outside. In America, we are trained to treat exhaustion like a virtue. We confuse a packed schedule with a meaningful one. We call it ambition, and people clap for it. But sometimes ambition is just fear wearing a nice suit. There is a term I wish I had known earlier, something biologists call the handicap principle. Think of a peacock. That beautiful tail isn't useful. It is heavy. It drags. It makes the bird easier to catch, yet it signals, look what I can survive. That is what a lot of our success has become. A peacock's tail made of status symbols. A bigger title, a bigger house, a busier week. A life so ornamented with proof that it starts to hinder the very survival it is supposed to guarantee. And the cruel joke is, it works. People admire you, while you quietly drain out. I remember one afternoon, sharp as a pin, because it should have changed me, and it didn't. My son Thomas came by. He was in his 40s, already successful, already sprinting. He stood in my foyer with rain on his coat, and he didn't fully step inside before his phone started lighting up like a small emergency. He tried to listen while his thumb kept swiping. "Dad," he said, "I can only stay 10 minutes." 10 minutes to visit his father. I watched him, his jaw tight, his eyes darting, his shoulders carrying a weight no one could see. And I realized I was looking at myself just in a newer model. He sat on the edge of the sofa like he was in a waiting room. I offered coffee. He said yes, out of habit. He took one sip and forgot it in his hand. By the time the mug cooled, he was already half gone. I asked him how he was doing. Not how is work, not how is the promotion, just how are you, son? He gave me the answer Americans are trained to give when they don't have time for honesty. "Busy," he said, "but good, really good." Then he smiled, and it looked like a suit that didn't fit. A notification buzzed. His eyes dropped. And right there, in my living room, I saw the whole structure. The corporate ladder, the culture of comparison, the invisible scoreboard. He wasn't living his life. He was proving something. And the worst part, he was proving it to people he didn't even like. People he would not invite to his own kitchen table if there were no professional consequences. That is what I mean when I say we become bottle people. Sealed up, pressure building, emotions stored away so we can survive the hierarchy. We trade our voice, our real talents and strange joys, for approval we don't respect. I wanted to tell him, put that phone down, sit, breathe, stay a while. But I didn't. I asked him about his projects. I asked him about his clients. I asked him questions that kept him inside the cage because those were the questions I knew how to ask. That is how this trap passes from parent to child, not through cruelty, but through imitation. He stood to leave. He hugged me with one arm, the other still holding the device that owned his attention. At the door, he said, "Once this quarter is over, things will slow down." I nodded like I believed him. I used to say the same thing. Once the building opens, once the merger closes, once the next bonus hits, once the mortgage is refinanced, once the kids are older, once. There is always a once. Here is the paradox I wish someone had pressed into my palm when I was 30. We spend our youth sacrificing freedom to earn money we believe will eventually buy freedom. But the process rewires you. It trains you to live under command. Emails, meetings, performance reviews, the anxious need to be necessary. So when you finally have enough, you don't know how to be free. You become a naturalized prisoner of your own habits. Even retirement can't save you from a lifetime of urgency. You sit still and your mind keeps sprinting. You own the time, but you can't inhabit it. There are 3 images that come to me now, the way metaphors come when facts aren't strong enough. 1, a wind-up toy, endlessly tapping its head against a wall. More, 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 while the open door to a quieter life stands a foot away, not locked, not guarded, just ignored. 2, a pawn on an infinite chessboard, convinced it can only move one direction, up the ladder, always forward, never sideways into art, friendship, rest, or wonder. But the truth is, you aren't a pawn. You are the whole board. You have more moves than your fear admits. And 3, the one that hurts the most, a luxury cage you build from the inside. Each bar is a raise, a new car, a larger home, gold bars polished and admired. And the door has a time lock that clicks open when you are old enough to finally notice you don't have the strength to step out the way you imagined. Now, I'm not here to shame work. Work can be honorable. Creating something real can steady a person. I built buildings, and I'm proud of the craft. But I want you to understand the difference between building a life and building a resume. Stoic philosophers used to talk about what you control and what you don't. You can't control the market. You can't control a boss's mood. You can't control whether the world applauds. But you can control your attention. You can control what you call enough. You can control whether you trade your best hours for approval that evaporates the minute you stop producing. Existentialists would say something even sharper. Meaning isn't waiting for you at the finish line. Meaning is made in the ordinary moments you are skipping past. The coffee with a friend, the slow Sunday morning, the walk in the rain without rushing to turn it into something productive, the phone left in another room while you look someone you love in the eyes. Those are not extras. That is the real estate of a life. If you are young, you think time is cheap because you have so much of it. That is the time paradox. You don't value it until it becomes scarce. I value it now. I value it like a man who finally understands the blueprint after the concrete has already set. So here is what I am asking you to do. Quietly, privately, without announcing it to anyone. Pick 1 hour this week and defend it like it is sacred. Not an hour for errands, not an hour for catching up. An hour that belongs to your real self. The one you keep postponing until the mythical day when life slows down. Sit with someone you love. Call your father. Write the first page. Walk without headphones. Stare out the window and let your mind settle. Prove to yourself, not to the world, that you can still choose. Because wealth isn't what you can buy. Wealth is what you can keep. Your time, your attention, your health. Your ability to feel your own life while it is happening. Don't wait until the house is quiet and the coffee is cold to learn that lesson. Take care of yourself.